Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the official YouTube channel of Office Society 24/7. So, first of all, let me know how are you all, and also let me know is audio, video both are okay. Are we good to go? So, this is our session regarding IE/IFS subject, in which we are discussing all the questions regarding the paper of your IE/IFS that is going to happen in 9th of June of yours, and we have taken those topics which have been asked in May 2023 and October 2023. Those questions we will be practicing in these sessions. Okay, so let's start with the first question of today's session, that is talking about your what is the key difference between GNI and GDP. Which of the following is the key difference between gross national income and the gross domestic product? Which of the following is actually the difference between GNI and GDP? So, first is saying GNI includes income earned by foreign residents while GDP does not. Second is saying GNI include taxes and subsidies while GDP does not. Third, GDP includes income earned by foreign resident while GNI does not. And the fourth, GDP include depreciation while GNI does not. So, what do you think? Which of the following is actually a kind of difference between GNI and GDP? So, GNI is the gross national income of the country, and the GDP is simply the manufacturing of all the goods and services produced within the country, the money value of all final goods and services produced within the geographical boundary of a country during a financial year, that is known as your GDP. So, the first is saying GNI includes earned income from foreign resident. No. Why our national income will include the foreign nationals income? Second is saying GNI includes taxes and subsidies while GDP does not. It also includes. GDP includes income earned by foreign resident while the GNI does not. This is true. The C option is true. Why? Because if we talk about the GDP, it covers the all money value of products produced within the country within a geographical boundary. That's why it will be covered under the GDP but not in GNI. So, right answer is C. So, simply the gross domestic product is the money value of all final goods and services produced within the geographical boundary of a country, and the gross national income is simply the GDP at market price, taxes minus subsidy on production and imports, then compensation of the employees that have been given, and the property income, all will be counted under the gross national income. Next, we have what is the underlying principle of the four-tiered regulatory framework for urban cooperative banks. Which of the following is underlying principle of the four-tiered regulatory framework for the urban cooperative banks? A, B, C or D? Size of deposit of the banks, NPA of the respective banks, geography of the respective banks, and demography of the respective banks. A, B, C or D, which of the following is correct? Okay, the right answer will be your geography of the respective banks if we talk about the urban cooperative bank. So, right answer will be C. Now, for this purpose, if we talk about the committee that have been headed by Mr. N.S. Viswanathan was created. So, the recommendation of the expert committee on revised regulatory framework for urban cooperative bank that have been given to us, it was headed by Mr. N.S. Viswanathan. He was the deputy governor of RBI at that time. So, the certain limits have been given here. So, it has been said that the minimum net worth of 2 crores for tier 1 urban cooperative bank operating in single district, then 5 crore for all the urban cooperative bank. This condition have been given. Second, the minimum CRAR for tier 1 banks, it is at 9% have to be maintained. For tier 2 and tier 3 and tier 4 urban cooperative bank, minimum CRAR has been revised to 12%. Okay, then urban cooperative bank, all tiers, they are now required to assign risk weightage on the housing loan on the basis of their loan to value ratio. Okay, then revaluation reserves will be considered for inclusion in tier 1 capital subject to applicable discounts on the lines of your scheduled commercial bank. So, all these are the gist of your recommendation given by the expert committee. Next, we have the recommendation of Tarapur Committee was kept on hold after East Asian crisis. It was related to which topic? Your current account convertibility, your LPG reforms, your capital account convertibility, or all of the above. Which of the following is correct? A, B, C or D? Which of the following is correct? A, B, C or D? Okay, so right answer will be your C. Very good. Capital account convertibility. So remember, the Tarapur Committee have given the recommendation for the capital account convertibility. The same committee have given us the recommendation regarding the FARA to FAMA changes of legislation. So right answer is C. And now you can see here the capital account convertibility. The SS Tarapur Committee were largely kept on hold during 1997 Southeast Asian currency crisis. Next, arrange the step of venture capital financing. So venture capital funds, we know what are venture capital. They simply collect money from various investors, then they invest their money in startups, in unproven companies. In the new companies, they invest the money of individuals. Hai na? So they actually collect the money like the mutual fund does, but they only invest in startup companies, in the unproven companies. They have a high risk and high return chances investment. Okay, so first is screening, exit plan, evaluation, deal origination, deal negotiation, post investment activity, etc. So the very easy way to find out the right sequence of the venture capital financing process, you can see, obviously the last plan will be the exit plan. The last step will be the exit plan. There are total 6 steps. So the second step will come at the 6th number. So you can see here the first will be eliminated. Now it can be any of the below B, C and D option. Now this is the last sequence we have calculated. Now the first one, let's calculate. The screening, no, you have to do something screening. Na? Evaluation, deal negotiation, post investment activity, no. So the first step will be your deal origination. Hai na? So what you will screen, what you will evaluate, the post investment process, hai na? The deal negotiation. Before all of these, you have to have a deal, na? And the deal will come from the deal origination. So fourth will be first. And the fourth is first in the B option. So fourth, first, third, fifth, sixth and 2. So first you have to do the deal origination. Then you will go for the screening purpose. Hai na? Then you will evaluate it. Then you will go for the deal negotiation and post investment activity. And the last you can exit the plan. Okay. So 4, 1, 3, 5, 6, 2. Okay. This is the right sequence. The B option is correct. The B option will be correct. Okay. B option. So it's easy to find out like this. If you are not, let's say you do not know the steps, you do not know, or do you at that time you are not able to remember that particular steps. So just try to find out the first one and the next one, first one or the last one. Somehow we will be able to eliminate 1 or 2 options and it's easy to get the right answer. So deal origination, screening, evaluation, deal negotiation, post investment and exit plan. This is the process. Now, which one of the following statement about credit rating agencies is incorrect? Which one of the following statement about the credit rating agencies is incorrect? Venture capital was introduced by the Bhatt Committee, correct, 1973. The statement regarding credit rating agencies is incorrect. So credit rating agencies are those agencies which provide rating to the companies and the corporates and the countries on the basis of their credit history. Okay. When it comes to the credit rating agencies, they are regulated by SEBI. Who regulate them? SEBI regulates them. And in case of credit rating agencies, they provide alphanumeric ratings. And they can also add the certain symbol, plus, minus symbols can also be there. So first is saying a credit rating agency is a private company that looks at the credit worthiness of a large scale borrower, such as a company or a country. Second, credit rating agency credit rating agencies don't rate individual consumers. Then the commercial papers and municipal bonds are not rated by a credit rating agency, and none of the above. Let me know which of the following will be correct. A, B, C or D? None. No. Answer will be C. The commercial papers, municipal bonds are not rated by credit rating agencies. They are rated by them. है ना? So right answer will be C. It is incorrect. So when we talk about credit rating agencies, a credit rating agency is a private company that looks at the credit worthiness of large scale borrower, such as the company or country. It effectively ranks the borrowers on their ability to pay off their loan. A credit rating agency, also called as a rating service, is a company that assigns credit rating which assesses a debtor's ability to pay back the debt by making timely payments of interest and repayment of principal and the likelihood of default. An agency may rate the credit worthiness of issuers of debt obligation, of debt instrument, and in some cases of the services of the underlying debt, but not of the individual consumers. Okay. So the debt instrument rated by crediting agencies may include what? The corporate bonds, certificate of deposit, commercial paper, municipal bonds, preferred stock, debenture, collateralized securities, mortgage-based securities, collateralized debt obligation. All of these will be covered under the rating for the debt instruments. है ना? All these debt instruments get rating from the crediting agency. Clear? Do remember this also. Next. Consider the following statement about the merchant banking and choose the correct statement. The statement about merchant banking and find the correct statement here. Merchant bank primarily involves providing financial advice and services to large corporate and wealthy individuals. Second, merchant banks do not provide regular banking services to the general public. Which of the following statement is correct about the merchant banking? A, B, C or D? Not only AAA, till triple B it is a good rating, है ना? Till triple B it's an investment grade rating. But below triple B it will be a rating that will have a chances of default more. Okay, right answer will be both are correct, 1 and 2. Right answer is C. Both are correct, that is 1 and 2. So merchant banks are actually regulated by SEBI. Merchant banking primarily involves you providing financial advice and services to the large corporate and wealthy individual. So merchant banks do not provide regular banking services to the general public. And the notification of Ministry of Finance says that any person who is engaged in the business of issue management means the person who helps in the issuing of shares and debentures, etc. That will be by making arrangement regarding selling, buying or subscribing to the securities as a manager, consultant, advisor or rendering corporate advisory service in relation to such issue management. If any person is engaged with any of these activities or providing all of these activity services, that will be known as your merchant banking. Okay, regulated by SEBI and the self-regulating organization is MFI. Now, which of the following comes under the shadow banking? Which of the following comes under the shadow banking? So shadow banking is a type of banking that we can say they are not bank by themselves, but they act like a bank. Like not act like a bank, they provide services like a bank. That's why they are known as shadow banking. So is it money market, credit investment funds, hedge funds, etc.? Finance company accepting deposit or deposit like funding? Which of the following is correct? We are talking about shadow banking. So they are not bank, but they provide services like a bank. A, B, C or D? So shadow banking will be all of them. The money market fund, the credit investment funds, hedge funds and finance companies accepting deposit. So right answer will be D, 1, 2, 3. All are the part. And see here, the shadow banking comprises entity which conduct financial intermediation directly, such as the finance company or NBFC. The entities which provide finance to such entities like a mutual fund globally. Shadow banking entities could be covered under broad heads of money market funds. Second, the credit investment funds, hedge funds. Third, the finance companies accepting deposit or deposit-like funding. Then securities brokers dependent on wholesale funding. Then credit insurers, financial guarantee providers. Then securitization vehicles. They all will be the part of your money market funds, and all these are the part of your what? They all are the part of shadow banks. Hai? So do remember, there are 6 categories that globally as defined as a shadow banking services, or we can say they all services are kind of a service which we can call to the shadow banking. Now the dash is an option that gives the buyer to buy the option right to buy the underlying assets at the strike price. Strike price means predetermined price on or before the expiry date. Expiry date means the future date on which the contract will be completed. So buy option we are providing, and whenever we use the buy option, it's what? It's a call, it's a put, it's an option, open or none. Which of the following is correct? Obviously it's a call option. In case of buy rights we have, it's a call. In case of sell, it will be a put. Okay, so right answer is A, not B. It's a A option, है ना? It's a A. So a call option gives the holder the right to buy but not the obligation. Option gives the right to buy or sell but not the obligation, है ना? It depends on the party. If party is ready to purchase, then they can go or buy or sell. If they do not want, they can legally come out of the option contracts. Clear? Good evening everyone, welcome to the official YouTube channel of Office Society 24/7. So first of all, let me know how are you all, and also let me know is audio video both are okay, are we good to go? So this is our next session regarding the same series of IE/IFS, this in which we are going to discuss 14 days left session, or I can say this is the 17th number session. So let's just start. Before starting, do let me know in the comment section is audio video both are okay, are we good to go? Let me know in the comment section is both are okay. Chalo, so let's start with the first question that is talking about your climate change. The question is about the climate change. First question is asking about, consider the following statement and you have to answer which statement is right or wrong. First statement and second statement have been given to us. First is saying India launched One Sun, One World, One Grid, OSOWOG, okay, initiative at COP26 to promote the global solar energy access. Additionally, the Plastic Hackathon 2021 campaign aims to make India single-use plastic free by 2022. Okay, that was the first we are talking about, that this target India have taken in context to our climate change. Next, we are saying India wanted to make India become a single-use plastic-free country by the year 2022. That's why the Plastic Hackathon has been introduced. Statement 2, India pledged support for sustainable living and production as a vital step towards combating climate change and endorsing the establishment of a climate fund at COP27. If we talk about COP, COP is what? Conference of Parties. Okay, COP is known as your Conference of Parties. Okay, so I am getting the answer C. Both are correct. Yes, very good. Both are correct. The right answer is C. Both these statements are correct here. Okay, so you can see the at Conference of Parties 26 meeting, India also announced the OSOWOG with the goal of harnessing solar energy and endorsing the generated electricity gets to place that used the most. And India also launched the Plastic Hackathon 2021 to make India a single-use plastic-free country by 2022. Next, the United Nations Climate Summit COP27, which happened in Egypt 2022. The member countries agreed to conduct or to establish a fund which will address the loss and damage due to the climate change. So all the member countries of COP who are participating in the climate change activity, they all agreed to this point that we should create a fund in which all the countries which are capable of, they will be contributing a certain amount of money in the fund, and those countries who have faced the loss because of the climate change, the disaster and loss, we will be helping them out with this particular fund. Okay, this have been said. Now next question we have, consider the following statement. Statement 1 is saying eligible participant issuers shall obtain a credit rating for issuance of commercial paper from any one of the SEBI registered crediting agency, CRA. Then the minimum credit rating shall be A3 as per rating symbol and definition prescribed by SEBI. Second is saying commercial paper can be issued for the maturities between a minimum of 7 days and a maximum up to 1 year from the date of issue, and the maturity date of commercial paper may go beyond the date up to which the credit rating of the issuer is valid. Let me know which of the following is correct out of these two statements. So we are talking about the credit rating agencies rating in the first statement, and the second we are saying that up to what duration it should be issuing the commercial paper. A, B, C or D? Which of the following will be correct? A, B, C or D? C and only one is correct. 2 options I have got. What about rest? Very good. Right answer is only one correct, because not beyond. Whatever your credit rating is, let's say the credit rating agency have given you the credit for the next, let's say June 2024. So you cannot issue commercial paper beyond the June 2024. You can only issue till your credit rating is valid. Okay, so right answer will be A. That only first is correct, not the second one. Right answer is A. Very good. Hana, so you can see minor changes they are doing in the question. Hana, they will give the statement ditto which was given in the book of yours, but a minor changes, a minor words will be changed, and that we have to identify where the wrong thing is defined. Chalo, so we are saying eligible participant issuer shall obtain a credit rating from the issuance of commercial paper. Any one of the SEBI registered crediting agencies, minimum credit rating shall be A3 as per rating symbol and definition prescribed by SEBI. The issuer shall ensure that at the time of issuance of the commercial paper, rating so given is current and not due for the review. Okay. Next thing, the commercial paper will be eligible for 7 days to minimum 1 year, up to 1 year maximum, sorry. The maturity date of commercial paper shall not go beyond the date up to which the credit rating of the issuer is valid. Okay. So these are the conditions have been given if any company is going to issue the commercial paper. Now, the next question is talking about FDI, foreign direct investments. Proposal involving a total foreign equity infusion of more than 5,000 crores requires a clearance from the CCEA, that is Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs first. Second is saying FDI in India is prohibited and not allowed to function in the following sector like lottery business, gambling, betting as well as casinos. Yes, there are 7 credit rating agencies which are approved by SEBI and 4 credit information companies are there. Very good. So do make sure you do this. Whenever you are finding any kind of question, you are practicing any question or you are revising the content in which certain other term have appeared. So do make sure you revise that particular term at the same time. This is how you can able to link the content and remember the content. Chalo, so let me know. The third is saying foreign investment in activities not covered by the automatic route requires prior approval of government permission. Proposal for foreign investment through the government route are reviewed by the relevant administrative ministry or department. So what do you think? Which of the following is correct? A, B, C or D? in case of FDI, foreign direct investment? Which of the following is correct? A, B, C or D? D, everyone is going with the D option. Okay. What about rest? Okay. So answer will be very good. Answer will be your D. All the statements are correct. Like if you are going for the government approved route, you have to take the permission from the respected ministry or from the respected department of the government of India. But if the amount of foreign investment is more than 5,000 crore, then you also have to take the permission of CCEI. Okay. And the second one is also correct. They are the prohibited areas. So the foreign investments in activities not covered by automatic route, they require prior government approval, and proposal for foreign investment through the government route are reviewed by the relevant administrative ministry or department. Proposal involving total foreign equity infusion of more than 5,000 crore needs a clearance from the CCEA. And if the FDI is coming from Pakistan, in that situation, it will always come under the government approved route. If FDI is coming from Pakistan, it will always comes to India in government approved route. Okay. Now, next. So, only two routes are there in the FDI, automatic and government approved route. Now, what are the major changes incorporated in the revision of SNA 2008? SNA stand for System of National Account. What are the major changes have been done when we have updated the System of National Accounts? First is saying the headline growth rate will now be measured by GDP at constant market price, refer to the GDP internationally. Second, estimates of GVA for each sector will now be provided at factor cost instead of basic prices. Third, comprehensive coverage of the corporate sector in manufacturing and services, including the annual account as submitted by to the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. Fourth, information from the accounts of stockbroker, stock exchanges, asset management company, mutual funds and pension fund along with the regulatory bodies is included for comprehensive coverage of financial sector. So what do you think? Which of the following is the major changes that happened? A, B, C or D? Major changes that happened when we have introduced the System of National Account. So System of National Account was actually introduced by United Nations. It's a standard policy, not a standard policy, but I can say standard rules. है ना, set of rules are there, as uniformity in the rules we want to have in the world, so that like if India is calculating its national statistical data, it will be at the same uniform level on which USA is calculating its own national countries, its own country's statistical data. That uniformity we want to have in the world. So the second is wrong, but the first, third and fourth is correct. So right answer will be your C. Okay, right answer your C. Why second is wrong? Because gross value added now will be calculated on basic price, not on the factor price. Okay, so right answer is C. So System of National Accounts 2008 are as follows. Headline growth rate will henceforth be measured by GDP at constant market price, which will be referred to the GDP from here on. And previously growth was assessed in terms of GDP growth rate at factor cost and constant price. Now the estimates of GVA, each sector will now be provided at the basic prices rather than on the factor cost. Okay, so this is the changes that have been done because of the System of National Accounts in 2008. It also have said that in every 5 years, the base years should be changed. That also have been said in the SNA 2008, but it is not yet properly followed. Okay, now in next question. In the following given a statement, which one is not correct in relation to CSR activities? CSR is corporate social responsibility. So in the following given a statement, Which one is not correct in relation to the CSR activities? First, the transition from considering CSR non-compliance as a civil wrong to a criminal offense highlights a focus on imprisonment over penalties, stressing the significance of accountability and enforcement. Second, recent changes in the law allow the Indian companies to exceed the 2% of CSR limit with provision to offset the excess spending against future obligation. Schedule 7 of the Act shapes your CSR efforts in India, focusing on SDG related to poverty, hunger, healthcare, sanitation, clean water access. CSR in India, as per the Companies Act, integrates economic, social, and environmental responsibility to promote sustainable growth aligned with the global SDG. So what do you think? Which of the following is correct? All are correct. How can you say all are correct here? How can you say all are correct? We have discussed CSR so many times. I keep telling you CSR, definitely one question will be there. Very good. It became criminal to civil, not civil to criminal. The first one is definitely wrong. In 2019, the CSR non-compliance converted from criminal to civil wrong. So earlier the 3 years imprisonment used to happen, but now it is penalty based. Like if the company is not following the CSR compliance, they have to pay the penalty. The company and the defaulting officer both have to pay the penalty. So right answer is first is not correct. Only one. A is correct. Okay. Now, the aim of CSR is simply voluntarily incorporate the economic, social, and environmental obligation into businesses operation in order to achieve the long-term growth and demonstrate a beneficial impact on the environment, employees, consumers, shareholder, and communities. So your business impact should be positive in all the shareholders. Okay. Defined under section 135, under schedule 7, it has been said that it is focusing to eliminate the hunger, poverty, and malnutrition. And now it is a civil wrong. Earlier it used to be the criminal wrong, criminal offense. Now it is a civil wrong. Next. Which among the following feature is correct regarding the red herring prospectus? The feature correct about RHP. Feature correct about the RHP, red herring prospectus. It has no details of the price or number of share offered. It should be made open for an offer for 1 month. The price is done through a bidding process. An RHP for an FPO can be filed with the ROC without the price band. Which of the following is correct? Okay. So it has no details about the price or number. This is true. The price is done through a bidding process. This is also true. An RHP for and follow-on public offer can be filed with the ROC without the price band, but not the 1 month it will be open to. So first, third, and fourth are correct, and the option number will be B. Okay, right answer will be your B. Very good. The second one is only wrong. Rest the 3 are correct. So right answer is B. So do remember, red herring prospectus is simply a kind of, it covers the kind of information which somehow not provide each detail of your share issue management. Okay. After the bidding process, and then it will share a certain amount of information. Now, next question we have here. Consider the following statement regarding the non-scheduled banks in India. The statement regarding non-scheduled banks in India. First, non-scheduled banks are not included in the second schedule of RBI Act. Minimum capital requirement for non-scheduled banks is governed by the section 11(1) of Banking Regulation Act 1949, non-scheduled banks can borrow from RBI for their normal operation without any restriction. District central cooperative banks are accorded schedule status by RBI. Which of the following statement are correct? Let me know which statement is correct here. A, B, C or D? Okay, and the right answer will be C. Chalo, let's see. So very obvious, non-scheduled commercial bank cannot take loan from the RBI for their normal operation. Okay, so the third is definitely wrong. First is correct, second is correct. It means it can be either B or D. If the second is correct, it means right answer will be D, that is third and fourth. Okay, right answer will be our D, that is third and fourth. Next. So you can see the non-scheduled commercial banks are those which are not listed in the second schedule of RBI Act, and the capital requirement of non-scheduled banks is governed by the section 11(1) of the Banking Regulation Act 1949, whereas the capital requirement of the scheduled banks are governed by the section 42. Acha, the capital required for scheduled banks is defined under the RBI Act, but in the non-scheduled banks it is defined in the Banking Regulation Act. And they can borrow from RBI only in the event of emergency, not in the normal business course they can take a loan. Hana, scheduled bank can take a loan for their normal banking business, but non-scheduled bank can only take the funds in case of emergency, otherwise no. Okay, next question. Consider the following statement and choose the correct statement as your answer. Yes, correct option was 1 and 2, and third and fourth was incorrect. Achha, question was asking what? Let me check. Question was asking what? Achha, it was asking the correct statement. Okay, okay, done. So third and fourth is wrong. First and second is correct. So the right answer is A. Right answer will be A. Hana? I have answered the wrong one. The third and fourth is wrong, and the first and second is correct. Chalo, next. Next question. Consider the following statement and choose the correct option. And it is about protectionism. First is saying the process of reducing dependency and integration amongst the particular units throughout the world is known as protectionism. Second, protectionism takes three main forms: tariff, import quota, non-tariff barrier. Third, when a government enact law that restrict or prohibit international trade. Which of the following is correct? A, B, C or D? The right answer will be, okay. So first is not protectionism, it is known as deglobalization. When we reduce the dependency on the other country, Hana, we are reducing the dependency and integration amongst a particular unit. It's not a protectionism, it is a deglobalization. The second is correct. Tariff barrier, import quotas and non-tariff barrier will be there, which will be used to do the deglobalization. And it's very obviously wrong. It's not like every time government enacts the law, it will prohibit the international trading. That's wrong. So right answer is second, and the question is asking about correct. So right answer will be D. Okay, right answer is D. Chalo, always make sure whenever there is a statement based question, we will check the correct and incorrect option. Sometimes the mistakes that I have done in the earlier question happens. Like I answer the incorrect one, but the question was asking correct. Hana? So do make sure this is a minor mistake which happens. Chalo, so deglobalization is what? The process of reducing dependency and integration amongst the particular units throughout the world is known as deglobalization. And the protectionism result is in the trade price rise and the necessity for provision of subsidy for protected industries. some jobs in this industry may be saved, but the some other will be lost. And the protectionism measures we have in the three form, that is tariff barrier, import quota and non-tariff barrier. Okay. Chalo, so let's end the session today here only. The remaining question we will do in the next class. Good evening everyone, welcome to the official YouTube channel of Officer Survey 24/7. So first of all, let me know how are you all, and also let me know is audio video both are okay, are we good to go? Good evening to all of you. Please confirm in the comment section is audio video both are okay. Should we start? Okay, so this is our 18th class regarding your IE IFS English medium session. Every day we are discussing the certain set of questions regarding the important terms of your IE IFS subject. So if we talk about, if we go for a there are certain important modules or important chapters that only we can study and can pass the paper. No such kind of things are applicable now, but yes, comparatively, let's say if we have 45 units, obviously comparatively 20 units are such kind of units which is more important, from where more questions can be seen. And as per the key takeaways of May and October 2023, we are having this series, we are having this session for the purpose of the same thing. Okay, so let's continue. Now start with the first question. Thank you so much for confirming that everything is okay. So the first question is talking about which of the following is not a characteristics of a credit rating? Which of the following is not a characteristics of credit rating? So if we talk about credit rating is provided by whom? It is provided by the credit rating agencies, which are regulated by whom? Which are regulated by SEBI. Okay. And the credit rating agencies provide us what? They provide us the alphanumeric ratings, alphanumeric rating, as well as symbols will be added to make it more understood, or to make it easily understood by the people. Apart from that, if we talk about, there are total 7 credit rating agencies in India which have been approved by the SEBI. And the oldest and the largest credit rating agency of our country is CRISIL, Credit Information Bureau of India, Credit Information Services related credit rating of our country. That is the largest and the biggest credit rating agency, and the first credit rating agency of our country. Hana, that named as what? That name as CRISIL. Okay. Now let me know which of the following is correct. A, B, C or D. It assesses the issuer's capacity to meet its financial obligation. Second, a credit rating agency assesses the financial strength of the borrower on the basis of its financial data. Third, the credit rating is not only a guidance to investor, but also a recommendation to invest in any particular instrument. So which of the following you think is correct? A, B, C or D? Okay, third only. That is not a characteristics. Okay, so first is correct. It actually assesses the issuer's capacity to meet its financial obligations. Second is also correct, that it rating assesses the financial strength of the borrower on the basis of the data available. But credit rating is not only a guidance to the investor, but also a recommendation. No. The credit rating agency will only let you know what are the chances of repayment of the loan if you provide to someone on the basis of the data available with them. They cannot recommend it, and they will not recommend you that you should go for the X company or the Y company. Hai na? So they do not give the recommendation, they just only give you the guidance. Right answer will be your D, third only. It's not a characteristics. Right answer is D. Now, characteristics of the credit rating. First is assessment of issuer's capacity to repay. First we have assessment of issuer's capacity to repay. Hana, it assesses the capacity of the issuer how to repay the funds. Next we have, based on the data, the rating will be provided. Hana, based on what? Based on the data, the rating will be provided. Third, it expressed in the symbols. Fourth, it carried out by the expert. It's not like anybody can give the rating. Experts will be there who will give the rating. And guidance about the investment, not recommendation. It's a guidance like where you should invest your money, but not a recommendation to you. Okay, so right answer was D. Next question. What are the financial and developmental objective of the NABFID, National Bank for Financing, Infrastructure and Development? Which of the following is the financial and development objective of NABFID? So NABFID was established as a development financial institution. It is the latest development financial institution and it is the 5th All India financial institution. Clear? Apart from that, it was established in 2021 with the capital, authorized capital was 1 lakh crores. First is saying extending loan and advances for infrastructure projects. Second is saying taking over or refinancing such existing loans. Third is saying attracting investment for private sector investor and institutional investor for the infrastructure project. Fourth is saying organizing and facilitating the fund participation in infrastructure projects. A, B, C or D? Which of the following are the objectives? Okay, so the right answer will be here. Very good. D. All are the objectives of NABFID. Very good. The right answer is D. All are the objectives. Okay. So you can see if we talk about the NABFID, it will have a both financial as well as development objective. The financial objective will be to directly or indirectly lend, invest or attract investment for the infrastructure project which are located entirely or partially in India. Second, the central government will prescribe the sectors to be covered under the infrastructure domain. And the next is developmental objectives include the facilitating development of market for bonds, loans and derivative for infrastructure financing. Then functions of NABFID, if we talk about extending loans and advances for infrastructure project. Second, taking over or refinancing such existing loan. Third, attracting investment from private sector investor and institutional investors for the infrastructure project. Fourth, organizing, facilitating foreign participation in infrastructure project. Fifth, facilitating negotiation with various government authorities for the dispute resolution in the field of infrastructure financing, providing consultancy services in the infrastructure financing. Clear? All these are the functions of NABFID we are talking about. Next, which of the following criteria are necessary for an NBFC MFI to be classified as a non-deposit taking NBFC? So, which of the following criteria are necessary for an NBFC MFI to be classified as a non-deposit taking NBFC? They can also be written as a NBFC ND, non-deposit taking NBFC. Let me know which of the following will be correct. A, B, C or D? Okay. So if we talk about classified criteria, the 500 crore and above is correct. Minimum net owned fund, it is saying that it should be 2 crores. It is saying it should be 2 crores. Minimum net owned fund of 5 crores should be there for NBFC MFIs which are registered in the northeastern area. So it should be 5 crores. Okay, not less than 75% is correct. Registration with the bank under the provision of RBI Act 1934 is correct. So, the first, third and fourth is correct. And no such kind of option is there. Okay, so I did a mistake with the options here. Right answer will be first, third and fourth. Okay, so right answer will be first, third and fourth, and the definition or the explanation you can see given here. NBFC MFI, so NBFC is a non-deposit taking NBFC having not less than 75% of its asset in the nature of qualifying asset which satisfying the following criteria. First is minimum net owned fund of 5 crores. Second, not less than 75% of its total asset in the nature of microfinance loan. And Reserve Bank of India framework microfinance loan direction will be 2022 followed. NBFC should be registered with the bank under the provision of RBI Act 1934 and having the asset size of 500 crore and above. Okay, so the only 2 crore part was wrong, other was right. Next, what were the objective of ICICI? ICICI is the kind of institution which have introduced the maximum, I can say, it have introduced the maximum variety of services to the customer. The first time it was introduced as a development financial institution, then it introduced the bank as well as a universal bank. Then the merchant banking, stockbroker company and the other types of services, everything is provided by ICICI. Chalo. So which of the following is the objective? To assist in the creation, growth and modernization of business enterprises in the non-public sector, to stimulate private ownership of industrial entities and to promote and assist in the expansion of market, to provide equipment finance, to provide finance for rehabilitation of industrial units. Let me know which of the following are actually correct. A, B, C or D in context to the ICICI Bank. And very good, the right answer will be D. All are correct. All are the objective of ICICI. Right answer is D. So objective of ICICI written here like the major objective of ICICI was to meet the needs of industry for permanent and long-term funds in the private sector. And the other is assist in creation, growth, modernization of business enterprises, stimulate the private ownership of industrial entities and promote and assist. Okay, and assist as well as in the expansion of market. It provide equipment finance, it provide finance for rehabilitation of industrial units as well. So all are correct. Next, which of the following statements accurately describe the quinary sector of the economy? There are 4 statements and you have to answer correct about the quinary sector of the economy. A, B, C or D? A, B, C or D? Okay, so the right answer will be here. So first of all, B and D, 2 options are coming. Okay, so first of all, it's a subsector. It's a subsector of tertiary sector. It's a subsector of our tertiary sector. Tertiary sector have a 2 subsector. First is quaternary, second is quinary. Quaternary is also known as a knowledge sector. That is also known as what? That is also known as a knowledge sector. So it is related to primary? Obviously not. The quinary sector focus on providing essential services like the healthcare, etc. This is correct. It is primarily involved in research, innovation and advance. This is also correct. It is sector plays minimum role in contributing to overall economy. So right answer is second and third. It means right option is B. They are quinary sectors. So quinary sectors are kind of sector which gives us the idea behind everything. So the persons who are involved in this sector, they are very minimum comparative to the other sector, but they have an impact on overall each and every policy making and everything in the decision making. So they are the brain behind the ideas, we can say. They are the brain behind every economic policy, or you can say socio-economic policies. Okay, so right answer was here B. Second and third is correct. The first and fourth is not. Okay. Yes, they are known as a brain behind the ideas. Now, and the other subsector of tertiary sector is known as knowledge sector. Okay, they check the intellectuality of human resource of a country. Next, Quinry sector. It includes activities in which the key choices are made. It includes the highest level of decision makers in government, including their bureaucracy and the private corporate sector. So the number of people participating in this sector is quite small, yet they are regarded the brain behind an economic, socio-economic performance of the country. Okay, this group include what? Occupation like senior company executives, your government officials, your research scientists, your financial and legal advisor, and others. All will be counted under this. Okay, next. Which of the following statement accurately describes the role of credit rating agencies in the primary market for securities? Which of the following statement accurately describes the role of credit rating agency in the primary market for the securities? We have these 4 statements. Okay. So credit rating agency assign credit rating to security indicating their credit worthiness and risk level. CRAs facilitate the allotment of shares in IPO. Then CRAs are responsible for regulating the issuance of corporate bond. CRAs act as an intermediaries to facilitate the foreign exchange transaction. Which of the following is correct? A, B, C and D. A and C, 2 options are coming. Right answer is actually your A. Credit rating agencies assign the rating to the security indicating their credit worthiness and their risk level. They do not work, they do not do the allotment of shares in IPO. They do not responsible for regulating the issuance of corporate bond. They are not acting as an intermediary. They are the credit rating agencies. They will provide rating only. So right answer will be your statement 1. A. So you can see the credit rating agency is a private company that looks at the credit worthiness of a large scale borrower such as a company or country. If it effectively ranks the borrower on their ability to pay off their loan. A credit rating agency, also called a rating service, is a company that assigns credit rating which assesses a debtor's ability to pay back the debt which they are taking from you. Okay, and all these are the debt instruments who get rating from the credit rating agencies. So credit rating agencies not only provide rating to the countries and corporates, they also provide rating to the certain debt instruments of the country. Okay, chalo, next. Next question we have, choose the correct option. Again, there are 2 statements given and we have to answer which is correct, which is not. First is saying that the real estate investment trusts are required to have a trustee, sponsor and a manager. Second, the trustee of a REIT is responsible for managing the day-to-day operation of the real estate asset held by the trust. A, B, C or D, which of the following is correct? Okay, so the right answer for this question will be first is true, second is false. Okay, I got C and D, 2 options. So, real estate investment trust required to have the trustee, sponsor and manager, that is correct. But they do not, actually REIT do not manage the day-to-day operation. है ना. They are not going to manage by themselves the day-to-day operation. Why they have hired the sponsor, the trustee, the investment manager, the special purpose vehicle to manage the activities. Na? They are not going to manage with themselves. So right answer is first is correct, but the second is false. Answer first is correct, the second is false. C is correct. Now, organization of real estate investment trust, they are similar to the mutual fund, है ना. First of all, they pool the investment of the people. The assets are professionally managed by the designated fund manager here. So, real estate company decides to form a real estate investment trust. It becomes the sponsor for the REIT and they appoint a trustee. Now, what the trustee will do? The trustee hold the real estate asset of the trust in its trusteeship. These assets are no longer directly controlled by the sponsor. They are not directly controlling. The sponsor have appointed the trustee to work the same for it. Then REIT may control its real estate holding either directly or with the special purpose vehicle will be created. Okay, and apart from that, the trustee will appoint a manager to manage the real estate asset on behalf of the trust. So simply they are not going to make day-to-day operation managed by themselves. They will appoint the staff to the authorities who have been appointed for the same. Now, which of the following statements are true about the non-banking financial companies in India? A statement true about NBFC. A, B, C or D? First is saying NBFCs are allowed to accept and renew the public deposit. NBFC cannot accept deposits repayable on demand. NBFC cannot offer interest rate higher than the ceiling rate prescribed by RBI. Select the correct option using the codes given below. Which of the following is correct? Okay, I got first answer, that is D. What about rest? D and C, two options are coming. No, actually the right answer is your D. They accept term deposit. They can accept term deposit and renew it when the maturity ends. They cannot accept demand deposit, that is correct. They cannot offer the interest higher than the ceiling rate prescribed by RBI. So first, second and third, right answer is D about the NBFC. Okay, so according to the amendment of 1997, RBI has defined its definition as these three forms. Section 45IA of RBI Act, non-banking financial company, they can commence or carry on the business of NBFCs subject to the obtaining a certificate of registration from the bank or having net own fund of minimum rupees 2 crores. Okay, this limit have been given to have a codes. In the context of merchant bankers, category 1 includes those which, category 1 we are talking about, which can only act as intermediary between the buyer and seller of security. They are authorized to carry out the entire range of activity related to the issue management process. Then they are limited to provide investment advice. Fourth, they can only deal with the debt instrument. Which of the following is correct? So merchant banks are regulated by SEBI. There are 4 categories of merchant bank, category 1, 2, 3 and 4. All the categories have to take registration, certificate of registration from SEBI. So which of the following will be done by the merchant banker 1 category? So we can say merchant banker 1 category, they perform all kinds of tasks. Okay, right answer is very good. They are authorized to carry out the entire range of activity related to the issue management process. Right answer is B, correct. So certification under SEBI regulation is required. Certificate from SEBI is mandatory to commence the merchant banking activity. There are 4 types of category. In the category 1, they can act as a issue manager. And to carry on the activity issue management, they will inter alia consist of preparation of prospectus, other information relating to the issue, determining financial structure, tie-up of financiers, final allotment and refund of the subscription. And they act as advisor, consultant, manager, underwriter, portfolio manager, issue manager, everything. They act as every particular term given here. Chalo. So now we'll be ending here today. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the official tips channel of Office Hazare 24/7. So first of all, let me know how are you all, and also let me know is audio, video both are okay. Are we good to go? So let me know in the comment section is audio and video both are okay. Are we good to go? So this is our session regarding IE IFS subject. As you know, this is our 19th session, and we can say 12 days left session it is, in which we will be discussing the another set of questions that will be regarding your May and October key takeaways that we have taken from the paper. Achha, before moving forward, the certain information I want to give all of you regarding the Power Pack revision batch. 1 second. So first of all, if I talk about Power Pack revision batch, is starting from 25th of May. We are starting this batch, and the first subject we are starting is Indian economy and Indian financial system from the 25th of May, and the timing for this batch will be 6 to 9 a.m. 3 hours per day till 25th till your 6th of June. These 3 hours classes will be regular, available to all of you in the Power Pack revision batch. Okay, apart from that, if we talk about in this batch, what we are going to do, we are going to cover all the units in form of MCQs, like all pattern of question that is actually asked by the IIBF, or the pattern of question that IIBF ask. And apart from that, we will have what? We will have the proper revision of the same topics in form of MCQ. Okay, so do remember this batch is starting from your 25th of May. Clear? Till 26th of May, it will be continued. This batch will be continued. Chalo, next. Let's start with the first question. All okay. Thank you so much for confirming. Let's continue. The first question is talking about which of the following can be the outcome of very high inflation in the economy. The reason or the outcome of high inflation in the economy. Okay, which of the following can be the outcome of very high inflation in the economy? First, reduction in economic growth. Second, increase in savings. Third, reduction in the exports. Select the correct answer using the codes below. A, B, C or D. English medium is morning 6 to 9. Bilingual is 6 to 9 p.m. Okay, English in the morning and bilingual in the evening. Chalo. So which of the following is correct? Like, because of the very high inflation, what will be the effect? Reduction in economic growth, increase in savings, reduction in exports. So first of all, inflation is rise in the prices. Whenever is money supply increasing, it increases the demand of consumer. And when the demand increases, supply will decrease, because demand and supply have an inverse relation. Okay, they have inverse relation. So prices will start increasing, and when the prices are increasing, that's the inflation. Now, because the prices are keep increasing, the cost of living will increase, which will make the low standard of living of people. Lower standard of living will be there because the cost of living have been increased. After that, we can say that people have to spend more money on their survival to fulfill their cost of living only. So it's very obvious their demand after a certain period will reduce, which will reduce the production in the country, which will reduce the GDP as well as the economic growth in the country. So the right answer will be reduction in economic growth, and reduction in exports will be there. So right answer will be your first and third. That will be D option. Second is not correct because the savings will be decreased. People have to spend more money to fulfill their basic needs. The cost of living is increasing. So their savings level will decrease, not increase. So second is wrong, other are correct. Right answer is D. Okay. So you can see the concept of inflation refers to a sustained rise in the general level of prices of goods and services in an economy over a period of time. Inflation leads to fall in the purchasing power. Okay, it leads to fall what? Purchasing power of money. Next, which agency of the World Bank Group focuses on providing low interest loan to credit worthy middle income countries. So World Bank Group have a 5 institution. How many institutions are there? 5 institutions are there. So question is asking, which agency of World Bank Group focus on providing the low interest loan to the credit worthy middle income countries? IBRD, IDA, IFC or MIGA? A, B, C or D? Which of the following will be correct? A, B, C or D? So World Bank have IBRD, IDA, IFC, Mega, and the 5th one is ICSID. These are the 5 institutions of World Bank Group, out of which IBRD provides the low interest loan to the credit worthy middle income country. IDA provide loan at concessional rates or no interest rate to the poorer countries in the world. Okay, and IFC provide loan to the private sector of the economy. So it takes a higher interest. Now, Mega, Multilateral Investment Guarantee Agency, provides a kind of insurance regarding the investment you are doing in the other country. If you are going for an investment in the other country and there you find the certain non-commercial risk is there because of which you lost your money, then in that situation, your guarantee have been given by Mega, like it will return your money up to 90%, whatever you have invested. ICSID is International Center for Settlement of Investment Dispute. It settles the dispute. It works as an arbitration. It settles the dispute between the two parties who came under the transaction. Okay, so right answer is your A, IBRD. So World Bank Group is collection of your 5 international institutions headquartered in Washington, D.C. IBRD, IDA, IFC, Mega, and ICSID. Out of that, India is the founding member of the IBRD, IDA, IFC. India is only member of Mega, not a founding member, but a member of Mega. But India is not member of ICSID. Do remember this. Okay, out of the 5 institutions, India is a founding member of 3, and the 3 are IBRD, IDA, and IFC. Then out of 5, India is member of Mega, only member, not a founding member. And ICSID, India is not even a member. Next question. What role can bank play in supporting India's transition to net zero emission? So India have taken a target that we will achieve the net zero emission by 2070. So how the banks can participate in the role to make the country achieve this target? What role the bank can perform here? Directly controlling greenhouse gas emission, funding India's energy transition through green finance, providing climate change education to public, supporting the development of electric cars in India. So right answer is your B. Funding the India's energy transition through the green finance. Green finance means you are providing finance in such a sectors which are environment friendly, environment sustainable projects. So climate change is a major economic concern. Even the best case scenario, the climate change would have impact on every sector of Indian economy in the coming year. So as per projection, Indian economy would face substantial economic challenges in the future, and the climate change is likely to lower India's GDP by 2.8% per year by 2050. This research have been done by the World Bank, or this have been said by the World Bank, that India will face this loss. Okay, and how the bank will support? Bank to support the country's transition to net zero emission by continuing to support the green finance or the green infrastructure. Clear? Next. A banking company requires dash from dash to undertake banking business as per provisions of section dash of the Banking Regulation Act. So question is asking, a banking company is required dash from dash, okay, to undertake the banking company or the banking business as provision of the section dash of Banking Regulation Act. So what is required to the banking company? Registration, license or certificate? So we are saying if any banking company wants to undertake the banking business, they have to take what? Obviously, they have to take the license. From whom? From RBI. Under what section? Under section 22 of Banking Regulation Act. So right answer is very good, B. The section 22 of RBI Act talks about the printing of currency. It talks about the RBI have sole right to print all the denomination of currency except rupee 1. But the section 22 of Banking Regulation Act gives the license to the banks to start their business. Now, so licensing of banks, banking company, section 22 of Banking Regulation Act, a banking company cannot carry on the banking business in India unless it holds a license issued in that behalf of by the RBI. Before commencing banking business in India, every banking company shall apply in writing to the RBI for a license, and RBI will grant license after being satisfied with all these conditions. Okay, if RBI is satisfied with all these conditions of a bank, then RBI will give the license to the particular company to start a business in the country. Okay, next. What is meant by law of downward sloping demand in economics? The law of downward sloping demand in economics. First is saying the more we consume of a good, the less satisfaction each additional unit of consumption provides. Second, the higher the price of good, the more units consumer are willing to buy. Third, the substitution effect and income effect caused buyer to switch to cheaper alternatives. Fourth, the relationship between the price of good and the quantity demanded is negative. So what do you think? Which of the following is correct? A, B, C or D? So law of downward sloping is this. When the graph is like this is a downward slope. And when we make the graph like this is an upward slope. So downward slope represents the law of demand, which says that the price and quantity demanded have an inverse relation. So right answer is D. The relationship between the price and the quantity demanded is negative. You can say it is negative, you can say it is inverse, you can say it is opposite. So right answer is D. Okay, so law of downward sloping, when the price of a commodity is raised, the buyers tend to buy less of the commodity. Similar, when the price is lowered, the other things being constant, the quantity demanded increases. So simply, the downward slope shows that the price and quantity demanded, they have an inverse relationship. If we have a price, if we have a upward slope, if we have a supply upward slope, it represents that the price and quantity supplied are directly proportional to each other. Clear? Next. Recently, the Parliament passed the Factoring Regulation Amendment Bill 2021. Which of the following statements are correct regarding the factoring? So the term or the statement correct regarding the factoring. First, it is a short-term lending facility by NBFCs to MSMEs. It is a way to get immediate liquidity by selling receivables. The banks provide lending facility where receivables act as collateral. It is unsecured lending facility by banks to generally MSMEs. So what do you think? Which of the following is correct regarding the factoring? A, B, C or D? Okay, so it is what? It is a way to get the immediate cash or immediate liquidity by selling the receivables. Right answer is B. Not always MSME. For only MSME, it is trade. So we are talking about factoring. D cannot be true. The right answer is B. The right answer is your B. So you can see in the factoring, it is suitable for your ongoing open account sales not backed by letter of credit or accepted bills of exchange. It is short term in nature. It is for 150 days, out of which 90 days is actually credit and the 60 days is the grace period. Now factoring can be with recourse or without recourse. The requires continuous arrangement between factor and client whereby all the sales are routed through the factor. Then the factor assumes responsibility for collection and helps client reduce the overheads for the same. Then the charges include those for financing, collection, administration, credit protection and MIS, management information system. Then factoring is also commonly for domestic and international transaction. Okay, that's what the factoring is, which gives immediate cash to the seller on behalf of trade receivables. Now, which country was the first rated by credit rating agency? The first country rated by credit rating agency, and also let me know the name of the credit rating agency who rated the particular country. Is it USA, France, India or England? The first country rated by credit rating agencies. A, B, C or D? Okay. So right answer here is, very good, it is France. Right answer is France. And this rating have been given by Standard and Poor. This rating is given by the International Credit Rating Agency, that is the Standard and Poor. And the country is France. So you can see the modern rating system dates back to 1909 when the John Moody started rating US railroad bonds. Currently, 3 rating agencies dominate the international market. That is Moody's, Standard and Poor and Fitch. Okay, these are the 3. Now, the first industrial country to be rated was France by Standard and Poor in 1959. Okay, it was what? It was France. Next, which of the following business cannot be transacted by RBI? Which of the following function cannot be performed by RBI? First, it is saying engage in trade or otherwise have a direct interest in any commercial, industrial or other undertaking. Second, purchase the share of any banking company or of any other company or grant loans upon the security of any such shares. Third, allow interest on deposits or current account, all of the above. Which of the following will be correct here? A, B, C or D? Very good. All are not done by RBI. It means all of the above, they are not the functions that can be performed by RBI. So right answer is D. So section 19 talks about the business that RBI cannot transact. RBI cannot engage in trade or otherwise. RBI cannot purchase the share of any banking company or any other company or give loan on those shares. RBI cannot advance money on mortgage of or otherwise on security of immovable property or document of title. RBI cannot make loan or advances. RBI cannot draw or accept bills payable otherwise than on demand. RBI cannot allow interest on deposit or current accounts. So all of these activities cannot be performed by the Reserve Bank of India. Now, out of the following statement, which statement is correct in relation to the Employees Provident Fund Scheme? Out of the following, which function cannot be, out of the following statement, which statement is correct in relation to the Employee Provident Fund Scheme? So first is saying EPFO is also the nodal agency for implementing bilateral social security agreement with other countries. Second, EPFO has been taking measures, several measures to simplify the operation of EPF account both for employers and employee by adopting IT-enabled tool and techniques. Third, contribution level are the same as in the EPFO system and must provide the same rate of return. The retirement age ranges between 58 to 60. Which of the following statement regarding the EPFO are correct? RBI was established on the recommendation of Hilton Young Commission, that is also known as your Royal Commission on Indian Currency and Finance. This commission was introduced in 1926. RBI Act came in the year 1934 and RBI was established in 1935. Okay, so answer will be your obviously D. All of the above are the correct statement about the EPFO. So you can see EPFO what? It is the nodal agency for implementing your bilateral social security agreement with the other country. It is one of the largest social security organization in India in terms of beneficiaries base and the quantum of financial transaction. Okay, so EPFO, one more important point, universal account number. It was given as an umbrella for multiple account numbers. So what happened now that multiple times when you change the job, every time you will get a new account number to manage your PF. But now the universal account number have been introduced. You do not have to again and again change your account number. The same number will be followed. It is of how many digits? 12-digit number it is. Okay, do remember that. Apart from that, this UAN Universal Account Number program was launched in October 14 as part of Pandit Deen Dayal Upadhyay Shramev Jayate Karyakram. And next, the employer and employee should contribute 12% of the salary of employee, out of which the employer contribution will be divided into two categories. First is 3.67% given to the EPF and 8.33% will be given to the EPS. One is Employer Provident Fund, another is Employee Pension Scheme. Both are managed by the EPFO. Clear? So this is the important information about the EPFO. And this is the batch I was talking about starting from 25th of May and with the IEIFS subject. To enroll, download the ADA 24/7 application. After downloading the application, just go to the home page of ADA 24/7. You will find the exam category, that is JIB. CIB is the exam category. Click here, JIB, CIB, then JIB May 2024. Check, this is the Power Pack revision batch starting from 25th of May. Online class test series ebooks will be available. When you click on the study plan, you will find all the 4 subjects. First subject will be IEFS starting 25th. Second is RBWM starting 31st. Third PPB starting 10th. And the fourth is AFM starting from the 17th. So you can check the study plan of all the 4 subjects by clicking on here. And English medium timing is morning 6 to 9. Bilingual timing is evening 6 to 9. Okay. Then after checking all of these, just click on the buy now option and enter a code here that will be Y496 and apply. So once you apply, you will find 78% discount. So around 1800 something you have to pay for this particular batch. Okay, starting from 25th. So do make sure from 25th you join these batches live and take full benefit of enrolling in this particular batch. Apart from that, to regularly join the YT session, the YouTube session, do subscribe the channel Officers ADA 24/7 and press the bell icon so that all the upcoming sessions notification will be given to you time to time. Okay, so that's all for today. We'll be ending the session here. We'll meet again tomorrow in the morning at 7 a.m. for PPB and in the evening at 7 p.m. for your IEIFS again. Okay, so that's all for today. Thank you all for joining the session and take care.